This is our discussion of filings with the SEC under the Securities Act of 1933. What this standard does is it adds, just a few things for us to know about filing with the SEC and mostly Form 10-K. So as we know, audited annual financial statements are in Form 10-K. So we just have a few extra things to be mindful of here under this auditing section. So as we look here, this standard has just a few extra items, like I said, for the auditor to consider when auditing an SEC or publicly traded client. And a filing is some form which the client files with the SEC, such as Form 10-K. And the auditor, as we know, is an expert on financial statements, and that was clarified by the next Securities Act of 1934. By the way, the Securities Acts of 1933 and 34 formed the SEC during the Great Depression. Well, since we are an expert under this statute, we therefore face statutory or criminal liability if we don't exercise due diligence, roughly due care. We do everything that we should. And also, of course, the auditor could face civil or tort liability from lawsuits from investors and other parties if we don't do things right. So if we don't follow due diligence or due care, we open ourselves up to a can of worms. So in C, in the event of an allegation of statutory liability, the auditor has two defenses. And the first one is to have due diligence. In other words, the auditor would show, largely through audit documentation, how that he or she did exercise due diligence in the audit. So we did everything right, and we can show it. We did all the evidence gathering that we should, and we documented everything very carefully. Of course, if we did not document everything carefully, we just lost our case. Well, the second defense is to have client misrepresentation. We could use that if the client misrepresented some information in the filing. Quite frankly, a worst case scenario would be if the client changed a less than clean audit report into a clean one. So if the client misrepresented something in Form 10-K, obviously we can defend ourselves quite well. And D, another issue relates to subsequent events. Well, as we know from Chapter 24, these happen after fiscal year end, but before the audit report date. For an SEC client, though, the auditor must extend search for subsequent events to the filing date. Here's an example. Let's assume that we have a client with a 6/30 or June 30th fiscal year end and an audit report date of 8/15, August 15. We normally search for subsequent events until 8/15. Well, let's now assume that this is an SEC client and the effective date of the filing of Form 10-K with the SEC is 9/1, September 1st. Therefore, the client must extend the search for subsequent events until 9/1, and they must pay us for that, of course. So the client will give permission, and the auditor will extend the search for subsequent events until September 1st. Practically, the SEC does not care about the audit report date. They only care about the filing date. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.